Well, hello. This is Mr. Strickland, and this lesson is going to be where I try to cover the basics of the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments of our U.S. Constitution. Now, I'm sure everybody's familiar with this, but I want to go into a little more detail about it. So let's talk about the First Amendment. First Amendment guarantees us 5 freedoms, and I'm sure we've all heard them. Well, let's go in more depth with them. We all have heard of freedom of speech, right? Yeah, we live in a country where you're allowed to say anything, right? No, that's not right. There are certain things we can't say. You know what they are? You cannot threaten somebody, nor can you slander somebody. And to slander somebody means you can't make up lies about them that's going to knowingly harm their good name. Second freedom is the freedom of religion. This country was founded on religious freedom. That's why the first pilgrims came over here. Now, just like the freedom of speech, there are a few little, restrictions on it, but there are restrictions like, well, you can't have more than one wife. They did it in the Bible, but you can't do it here, okay? Next freedom is the freedom of the press. That's just a way of saying we get the freedom of the written word. But that also can apply to television, the internet, radio, music, anything like that. And just like the freedom of speech, you can write anything you want in this country, but you cannot write something that is going to knowingly harm somebody's good reputation. Next freedom is the freedom to peacefully assemble. That is a great freedom because it allows us Americans to gather in groups and discuss ideas, but it must be done peacefully. The second a brick gets thrown through a window or a fire gets set, you have a riot. So it's assemble peacefully. And the last but not least freedom in the First Amendment is the freedom to petition the government for a redress of grievances. What does that mean? That gives us the right to protest. And if you think about it, that is how our country was founded. We didn't like the way the British were treating us, so we protested their rule and kicked them out. Okay? So if they did it back in the 1700s, then they thought that future generations should be allowed to do it. And the most recent example of that would be the civil rights movement. Those people petitioned the government and protested because people of color were not afforded the same civil rights as people that were white. So that is our First Amendment. And the main thing I'm trying to address here is that, yes, the freedoms are there, but they're not absolute. They do have minor restrictions, okay? But they're all there to keep us safe, okay? So moving on, we got the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment gives us the right to bear arms and to keep a standing militia. So yes, you're allowed to own a gun, and if you want to, you can start an army. Now, I don't recommend it, but the Second Amendment allows you to do that because at the time it was written, that's how we fought the British. We created our own army to defend ourselves. We allowed ourselves to own weapons to defend ourselves. It was not meant for any other reason, okay? Now, there are minor restrictions on gun ownership. For example, convicted felons and people with documented mental disease, they cannot own weapons. But that is because they have given up this right, okay? So yes, you're allowed to own a gun, but there are restrictions. And furthermore, you may be able to own a gun, but you can't own a nuclear weapon or a grenade. There are those restrictions as well. Number 3 is something that was written a long time ago and really doesn't apply to us today, but that is that nobody has to allow a soldier to stay in their home if they do not want them there. You don't have to give a soldier room and board if they demand it. You can offer it, but you're not required to give it, okay? That doesn't apply now, but back in the day when there weren't hotels all over the place, you needed a place to stay. Sometimes you went to the nearest farmhouse. Number 4, this is where we're going to get into our civil rights. Number 4 tells us that people and their personal property cannot be searched without a warrant issued by a judge or without probable cause. People should be able to feel secure in their possessions. They should not feel that the government at any time can just come and demand to search them. This is important because a lot of people are unaware of this, but if you've ever watched an episode of Law and Order, whenever they search someone, they always ask them, okay? You've got to be asked if you have something on you. And if you say you do not want to be searched, they can get a warrant, but that does not guarantee a search. So keep that in mind. Moving on to Amendment number 5. Amendment number 5 really says that you cannot be tried for the same crime twice, okay? So that is known as double jeopardy. So if you get charged with a crime and found not guilty, you cannot be charged with that crime again. Secondly, you were not required to self-incriminate, meaning when you've ever watched a cop show and you hear them say, you have the right to remain silent, they are referencing this amendment. Whenever a cop asks you questions as an American citizen, or even not an American citizen, even anybody in the United States land, you do not have to answer questions if you do not want to. You can keep your mouth shut. Something else added to the Fifth Amendment would be due process. Due process is really just the rules the courts must follow. That means you have the right to a fair and public trial. You have the right to be present at your trial. You have the right to an impartial or an unbiased jury. You have the right to be heard in your own defense. Okay? Now, these are the rules that the courts must follow. That's what due process is. The last part of the Fifth Amendment is this. If the government wants to take your property for the use of public good, meaning to build a road or to build a park, they can take your property, but they must pay you a fair amount for it. So that is the Fifth Amendment. The Sixth Amendment is that you have the right to a fair and speedy trial, meaning you cannot be arrested and locked up and never given a court date. The courts have a time frame in which they must bring you in front of a jury and a judge for your case to be heard. That's to ensure that no one just has to rot away in jail without ever having their day in court. Number 7, this is where we get into a civil suit, okay? A civil suit is this. It's a case involving a money dispute between two people. That's like if a tree falls on your property that was in your neighbor's yard, or if you get into a car accident and somebody gets injured, money comes into play. So thus, you're able to sue somebody, and the amount must be greater than $20. You may ask, why just $20? Well, back in 1791, $20 was a lot of money. Okay? The Eighth Amendment, that's where it says that there should be no cruel or unusual punishment allowed after the conviction of a crime. You cannot be sentenced to death if you jaywalk. Okay? But if you kill somebody, you can be sentenced to death. In so many words, it's like saying the punishment must fit the crime. All right? So that's the Eighth Amendment. No cruel or unusual punishment. We don't crucify here. We don't draw and quarter people here. All right? The Ninth Amendment is basically saying this. Even if rights are not listed in the Bill of Rights, it does not mean that you do not have them. They don't have to be listed, but if they're basic human rights, like the right to get a haircut, or the right to have a child, or the right to get married, those are basic rights. So you can't be denied basic rights. The writers of the Constitution just felt like they couldn't include everything, but they just felt like there were certain basic human rights that everybody could agree on. Last part of the Bill of Rights. Now, Bill of Rights is just the first 10 amendments. We have a lot more, but these were the first 10, and these were required in order for them to adapt and ratify this Constitution. And number 10 says this: states can make their own laws if they do not violate the Constitution. That is why, for example, certain states in this country allow you to buy marijuana, okay? Other states do not. But see, nowhere in the Constitution does it mention marijuana. So that's why because the United States is just that, a collection of states. The states have power just like the government. So number 10 was to make sure that the states realized that they weren't under the control of the federal government. We will go through the additional amendments in future video lessons, but please read them, okay? Don't memorize them, but just become familiar with them, because as a U.S. citizen, or even just somebody in the United States, you need to be aware of your rights so that nobody takes advantage of you. That concludes this video lesson.